Hey traders, in today's lesson I'm going to show you some stock trading tips on how to scan for the strongest stocks. This can potentially help us find some really nice winners and avoid some losers, so stay tuned. Cawiezell here with tradersplane.com, here with a brand new video on how to scan for the strongest stocks, and I want to welcome you to another lesson. Thanks for stopping by. I'm very glad to have you. If you are new to my channel or new to any of my lessons, I want to welcome you as well and encourage you to subscribe to my channel, as I have plenty of other lessons on scanning for stocks, chart reading, managing market volatility. So if you're interested in trading the markets, go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as a notification bell so you can stay up to date on all my recent trading videos. Okay, for this lesson right here, I'm just going to grab a scanner from MarketSmith. You don't have to have MarketSmith. You can use absolutely any tool. I just want to show you how valuable scanning for volume is, and I do this on a daily basis very quickly. It takes me like 2 minutes a day, and I usually find one or two stocks to add to my watch list, especially if the market's breaking down. I can add one or two, and I can subtract one or two. So this is the criteria over here, and this can be easily adjusted. Okay, but I just want to, in customize, but I just really want to walk you through this right here. So right here, we're looking for above average volume, volume percentage change versus the 50-day average. So what this means is that we're looking for all stocks on the current day that are trading 20% above average volume. Really, I like much more than that. But you know, this is really just a starting point. Again, you can customize it. I'm really looking for stocks that are minimum of 100% above average, so double the average volume. Current price change minimum of 1%. Current price of the stock minimum of $10. We want to weed out all the penny stocks. Minimum volume. Now this one says only 10,000 shares, but really I'm probably not trading stocks under 150,000 shares per day. So this really is a wide cast, but we can really narrow this down. And then market cap, a minimum of 250 million in market cap. So that brings us down to about 668 opportunities. Now, again, if you adjust this, to 100 up here, maybe 2%, and then you can change this to 150, it would be a much smaller list. So don't get overly concerned by this big number, because really all I'm going to do is I'm going to take the list and I'm going to look at about the top 10 or 15. That's all I'm going to do, is I'm going to look at the top 10 or 15. You cannot scan them all. You have to set a plan. You have to set yourself up for success. And if you don't, and if you overwhelm yourself, because there's an easy way to overwhelm yourself out there with everything out there, then you're just not going to do it. So I run a scan and I'm looking for the strongest 10 or 15 stocks in this scanner. That's it. And then I'll just really move on. So we have the list down here, and we'll just really go through the top 10. And what I'm doing, in the market is in a downtrend, so most of the charts aren't going to look as good, right? But I'm trying to say, okay, out of all the charts, let's just say in the top 10 or 15, which charts are holding up the best? You add that with a little bit of volume. That gives me a great opportunity for a next potential big winner. So this is an ETF at the top of the list. I'm just going to go to the next one on the list. So we have Sierra Wireless right here. This is number 2 on the list, 855% above average volume. That is a massive volume day. So I'm going to drag this down a little bit just so we can see better. Now look at this. Now, what's interesting to me when I look at this, I say, okay, big day yesterday, 15%, 855% above average volume. You got an earnings right here. You got an earnings spike right here. Yes, it is in a larger consolidation, but what's getting interesting is as this consolidation is going on, you have earnings gap and then really no volume on the pullback, right? And we'll talk about how to analyze consolidations on another lesson. But you have big volume, low volume pullback, big volumes coming back in on earnings. This one's going on the watch list because I believe, based on this price action right here, that this is going to break out. Now, I'm going to wait for it too, but I also have to look at this chart and say, okay, you have a chart that is going sideways. Yes, that's not exciting, but most of the charts we're probably about to look at are in much worse shape. They are going down, so sometimes you do have to put it into context. So let's just go. That one's on the short list. That's a good candidate. Lots of volume. Let's look at the next one on the list. MODV. Never heard of it. It's really in a pretty bad downtrend, and the volume yesterday was not on earnings. You can see it reported last week. So I'm just going to go to the next one on the list. Coinbase. So you have a big volume day yesterday, but you can see that it recently gapped down on earnings. So this is a dead cat bounce. You know, if I see this kind of volume, I'd prefer it to either be, you know, not immediately following a gap down or on a gap up of earnings of some kind. So right here, this is clearly a dead cat bounce. This is a horrible looking chart. I'm moving on. Okay, so online retail ETF. Oh, that's an ETF, so I'll just pass. So MicroStrategy, this is basically a Bitcoin proxy right here, MSTR, was up a lot yesterday, but a lot of the risk on assets were. A lot of the Bitcoin reversed a little bit. You had a lot of those risk on stocks that reversed. You know, it reported and it's in dead cat bounce mode. So I'm just going to pass on this. Because you have to keep in mind that if you're going to scan 10 or 15 stocks a day, or at least with this scanner, that you want to give yourself the best chance of success. You cannot put everything on the watch list. So far, we have Sierra Wireless, which was the best opportunity, even though it's in a consolidation, because it doesn't look like this. Okay, it's not in a downtrend. So let's look at another one, APP. You have this right here. So up 600% on a earnings gap yesterday of 35%. A 35% move, that's massive. Okay, so here is another question that I have to ask myself before considering putting on a watch list. Like, there is a lot of good stuff going on here. Okay, so you have a weekly reversal pattern in the making, although it's a very, very wide pattern. Okay, that's like 30% long. You have nice earnings reports, and then I move over to the earnings, and the earnings are triple digits. So now I have to ask myself, so when it's looking like a potential turnaround candidate, sometimes you want, before putting on your watch list, ask yourself, can I see myself buying this? Like, can I honestly see myself buying this? And the answer is, for me, no. On this one, even though there's a lot of good things about it, and I might even put it on the short list just to kind of keep an eye on it for a couple weeks to see if it maybe pulls back and sets up, but I'm not buying right here. I'm not buying a 35% gap when it's way down in the gutter. So for this one, and sometimes it might make sense to have a long-term watch list, but I'm just going to pass because I know that I'm not getting in on anything that pops 35% in one day. Even though that might be a good opportunity, it's just, is it for me? Probably not. Okay, so and we'll come back to that as well. So then I have another ETF. I'm gonna move on. Okay, so right here we have a biotech. It was up on 400% above average volume yesterday. You can see that after earnings it tried to sell off in reverse. Me personally, I'm not a big biotech guy, especially for ones that have little to no revenue. You know, it's starting to pick up a little bit, but usually biotech is not my cup of tea. So then I ask myself, can I see myself buying it? And that's more of a personal question, like, what is your cup of tea? Biotech is not my cup of tea, especially the pre-revenue or the little to no revenue biotechs. Not for me. Okay, so we have another situation right here, Squarespace, and this is very interesting. You have a stock that popped 48% on an earnings report. You can see right here, 400% above average volume. Okay, this is very, very interesting, but I'm going to come back to more of a personal choice, right? Am I going to buy a stock that just moved 50% in one day? It's probably nowhere close to where I want it to be, because for me to enter a stock like this, I'm going to want it to break out, pull back, consolidate, and then do something like this. And I think this is a long ways away from doing that. And because I know myself, I scan every day, I can see if this will pop back on my scanner another day. I'm not going to buy this, so it's not going on the list. Okay? But to be clear, that doesn't mean it won't go on your list. You might say that and be like, hey, that gap up is really my cup of tea right there. It's more of a personal choice. But I think if there's one key takeaway from this video, or two, one, focus on volume scans, but for two, don't put everything on your watch list, especially if you know deep down it's probably not your type of setup, okay? So KRNT, right here, it was up 5% yesterday on 400% above average volume. Yeah, it gapped down on earnings. This is a dead cat bounce. I'm passing. Carvana, up a lot yesterday, 25%. Steady downtrend. I'm passing. Okay, same thing with Unity Software. Look, I got an earnings gap down right there, and then it's popping. It popped huge yesterday. Dead cat. Okay, I'm passing. All right, on this one, so you can kind of see that we have a pretty interesting setup. So interesting week, as a lot of these tech stocks are gapping down, and then they have their dead cat bounce. But here's another stock that is pretty interesting, and that is Affirm. So it looks really like we have 1, 2, 3. Let's go back to the list real quick that we just looked at. We have Affirm, we have Squarespace, and then we have this app stock right here. All three popped 25 to 50% on earnings. We're going to go through an earnings gap up scan on another lesson in this series, but all three of them are up huge. So what I usually will do on this one, I'll wait till the weekend and I'll go through an earnings gap up scan to see which ones of these have settled down. So I will come back to these, but for now they're really just not anywhere close to a buy point in my opinion. So scan 15 stocks, only found one that I thought had real potential. Does that mean the other ones can't make a lot of money? No. As a matter of fact, those 3 stocks that I passed on, I think they will make a lot of money personally. So they will probably go up as long as the market gets some wind behind their back. But I like to buy, with certain entries that are around support, and right now they are not around support. So I hope this was helpful. I think the most important thing is that, you don't have to go through the whole list. Just scan an above average volume scan. This and the earnings gap up scans are my 2 favorite scans. I go through them every day. Does not have to be a big ordeal. Make sure you're not putting too much on your watch list, because next thing you know, you got 30, 40 stocks. In my opinion, you should have 20 max, more like 15, because you're not going to buy them all. You just can't. You can't buy them all. You can't scan the whole market. Make it manageable. That way you don't overwhelm yourself. So if you like this video, or if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave a comment below, or if there's other videos or scanners that you want me to review that are in my wheelhouse, drop that in the comment below. I usually reply to those daily. I'd be happy to do so. And just a reminder, if you're new to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell so you can stay up to date on all my recent trading videos. In addition, you can check out my website, thetradersplan.com, as there's some great training on there, and you can click the link below for that. So I hope this was helpful. I'll see you on the next training session.